Here we are on the Good Girls podcast, just two hetero girls hopelessly in relationships with men, even though we can't quit them, even though we
hope
want
that
to.
we are reincarnated as lesbians.
Yes, here we are. All the things
I'm
happening
trying
in
to
the
be
world.
extra good in this life so I can be reincarnated as a lesbian in my next life.
Truly, and in like some kind of lesbian paradise, not the US. So this is Kay and SJ, your hosts. Jumping right in, we could start out with our positives, such as Epstein files, Prince Andrew. Actually, there's one individual person getting consequences for their actions, maybe.
The
So that was
UK decided to give action, so now
If you're
we're
in
like
the
the
UK.
weird country that did not give any consequences.
So may we continue to be uplifted by that photo of him in the Range Rover. It is.
Oh my gosh, so awkward. And
my favorite.
apparently his staffers all call him the cunt, which is just wonderful.
I really feel like it's giving cunts a bad name, though, because I feel like lately, as
Cunt's a good word,
girlies,
yeah.
we've been reappropriating the word cunty and just using it to be cheeky about
Prince
things.
Andrew is not cunty in the
He's
cool
not
way.
cunty in the way that I mean it. You wanted to do some rating pop culture things later, Kay, and I wanted to call it the cunty or skanky section because I feel like cunty is like cheeky and slutty in a fun way, and skanky is thumbs down. Prince Andrew, skanky.
Yeah,
Moving on.
Not the cool type. So the U.S. men's hockey team were like our big heroes, and then they decided to let Kash Patel, of all people, why let Kash Patel
That's
into
your
your
first
locker room?
mistake.
I'm sure that nobody there was like, who's missing from this locker room celebration with our teammates? Like Kash.
Yeah.
And so he FaceTimed in the president, who said the joke about, oh, I'm going to invite you all, and I guess I'll have to invite the women's team. And then all the guys in it laughed. This laughter afterwards has been like a huge subject for debate of, are we all being too soft and too sensitive and too hard on them? That this is a group of guys post a huge win, totally on adrenaline. The president of the United States, even though he's the most questionable president of the United States ever? I don't know. We've had a lot of questionable ones.
Been convicted of, I know. See our previous episode on skanky presidents, but this is the skankiest one to top them all.
Do we judge laughter and all that? Why did it even have to be said? Why is the man who represents our country saying that in a conversation?
So I watched a number of responses on this, and I do think it's interesting just how much this one thing kind of sparked so much conversation. I feel like a lot of that is because for me anyway, and for so many other women that I heard talking about this, there's so much that wells up from it that isn't just about this one interaction with this team in the locker room and Kash Patel and Trump. One
Kash
particularly, yeah.
Why?
One particularly helpful way that I heard of framing the actual thing in the room, not maybe giving them an excuse, but to try to understand it a little bit, is a lot of times that we talk now not just about fight or flight response, but fight, flight, freeze, or flock. And that it's this idea that if you're in kind of this stress-inducing situation, which I also feel like sometimes things just happen and I don't pick up fast enough what's happening, I kind of laugh along. Anyway, so be that as it is, there's this, some people have mentioned, okay, maybe, what happened in the room at the time. Guys are just like, I don't know, I'm just going to laugh along with my bros. So that could be a reasonable, I won't say excuse, but explanation for what happened. I think what you have to hold them accountable for is what happened after that. Anybody can have a response that they would maybe later regret, but what I did not see afterward was a lot of regret. And for example, like with that photo op with President Trump, all but 5 members of the hockey team, the men's hockey team, showed up for that photo op later. You had plenty of time to think about what you did and think about who you're having this photo op with at that point. So I'm excusing
Not
the
wear a
5
MAGA
guys
hat.
who excused themselves from the photo op.
What expectations would you hold yourself to? What expectations would you hold your spouse to? And, my guess is that 9 times out of 10, if most of the men that we respect and value us in our lives, if they're in that exact situation, they would laugh. Because, yeah,
And I think
that's
that's
just the
why
reality.
women keep talking about it and are feeling so strongly about it. And I was talking to some men that I know about it, and that yeah, I think that they were pretty quick to be like, "Oh, it's just this one thing, like, this kinda stuff happens. Wouldn't most people laugh along? You know, it's the most powerful person, albeit one with a 35% approval rating in the US. Wouldn't you feel like it would be"
Pedophile.
yeah, "something that you should laugh along to?" So I think that for women that have had the repeated experience of men that will support them when it's not hard to do it, and then when it's hard to do it, or when they think, they're in the locker room, they're behind closed doors, then they don't support it, it kind of negates that other support a bit, and I think that's why women are still talking about this. One of the people I talked to was pointing out his experience as, a man and as somebody who just, like, watches a lot of professional sports, saying, well, I think that this is kind of a one-off, an aberration, just this uncomfortable experience because on the whole,
No,
you
it wasn't
see
a
men
one-off.
when you s and his point as a man who's mostly just, like, watching this from the outside and watching men's sports, and so the interaction being just hearing men as male athletes as they talk about their female counterparts, that he said, "I see them being on the whole hugely supportive of these female athletes, talk about them positively, that they're their counterparts in the same sport, et cetera, et cetera." And, that was challenging for me because the experience as a female athlete is a completely different one. And again, I think it's very easy to give yourself credit for, oh, we're having a press conference and with both the men's and the women's team, and we're talking about things, and to say positive things about the women's team. But then when you don't see these same men step up when it's hard, to step up for equal pay, to step up for equality in other kinds of ways, then I don't really see the point or the value in that kind of
Yeah.
support if it doesn't come through thick and thin.
So something I love is that I'm sure that there is no merit to this. And even if there is merit, like to each their own, enjoy this, like, enjoy your kink. But what I love is that women started circulating online after this that Quinn Hughes likes getting his asshole eaten.
Good for
And
him.
he
Let's talk about
yeah,
that
yeah,
instead.
exactly. Yeah, talks about it like, I frequently asked about it, is, like, basically banned from, like, this, like, strip club because he's so famous for asking about it, and, I'm like, that is the way
Strip
that
clubs are
women would get
for,
back
buddy.
at someone, is spreading a rumor that a guy likes getting their ass eaten more than anything else, including head, like,
It seems
and that
effective.
like, another thing was that one of the Hughes brothers peed on his girlfriend at night when they were mad at her, which again, it's very hard for me to believe that there's any
Having
merit to
measured,
that.
educated discourse has not been getting us very far, so I say yes, let's be petty, let's just, spread rumors about their assholes and things like that. It seems like the way to go, which is really a good sneak peek, Kay, for the book review that I have later for you in the episode. When they go low, we get petty and write sentient object smut about them. But I don't
Yes.
wanna give too
So
many spoilers about the subject of my book review that will take place at the end of this episode.
so we will start with a quick debate of whether men are okay. And then we'll get into our book reviews, which show that women are definitely not okay. So let's talk about various scenarios where men are questionable. Do you want to pick your first one?
Let's do the Coldplay Kiss Cam CEO, that one, now famous.
Okay. So
What's your
Coldplay
take?
Kiss Cam CEO, married tech CEO and his HR exec get caught mid embrace on the Jumbotron at a concert. They both lose their jobs. So, I what I hate is that it was instinctive in me to think, "Ooh, I can't believe that the woman did that. How did the head of HR, like, let
Mm.
herself get stuck in that situation and do all that?" Versus you saw the guy and you're like, "Oh, well, of course the guy is gonna be slimy. This isn't a surprise." Which
Well, and that one's interesting because at least according to one of them wrote a piece afterwards, and they said that both of them were legally separated, so they weren't actually just out cheating. At the same time, what's very easy is to either not go out on a public date if you're
or if
in
you
a
are
place where you
legally
just don't wanna be.
celebrated, then embrace it. Nobody would
Yeah.
have noticed if you guys looked like you weren't trying to hide something, but why do you look like you were trying to
That
hide
was their big
something?
problem. But I think that I would say that they are just, dumb more than that they are being skanky. They are neither cunty nor skanky, I would rate this
Yeah,
one.
they definitely do not get the cunty word associated with them. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, Apolitical guys, how do you feel this was sparked by a Love is Blind
The new
contestant,
season, yeah.
which we will talk about in detail because it deserves its
We need
own
a whole
episode in
other
the
episode about
future.
that, yes.
But this whole idea of a guy saying, "Oh, I don't really have any political beliefs. I don't really care about anything." Like,
Boo,
do we have
skanky.
any skanky?
I say yes, because that's such a privileged that is not only privileged, that is dumb. Because you can be privileged and say, like, hey, I really enjoy the fact that I don't have to care about what I deem to be politics because it doesn't really affect my life that much right now. But to be so dumb as to think that you are just being I am better than you because I think the way of saying I'm not political is a way of like, oh, I'm better than you because I'm not into this petty kind of nonsense.
Would you, as a Democrat woman, rather have a guy who's a hardcore Republican but has reasons for his beliefs that are grounded in a system and all that, or a person who is apolitical?
So I guess I have no problem with somebody being a Republican. What you do with those Republican values in the current dumpster fire that we are living in. If they were hardcore
Yeah, you're right.
MAGA,
I said that wrong because I don't think any of us have any problems towards any, or neither of
yeah,
us
if they're
has problems
conservative
towards a
and right leaning
Republican, a
and
conservative,
principled, like,
but it's
sure,
different with supporting our current
yeah,
fearless
that's
leader.
like knowingly voting for a pedophile. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's harder.
Yeah. So I would say somebody who's principled and right leaning for me, that is hotter than somebody who's just like, oh, I don't believe in politics because it doesn't affect me. I rate the IQ of that person very low and just the general self awareness.
I don't think it would be somebody who I could be attracted to. You do hear it, and it is of guys who I'm like, I don't know, I could probably be friends and be fine with them and try to work with them to help
You're
them
nicer than I am, Kay.
understand, yeah, why this matters. So, SJ, if you had a choice between a guy who had the characteristics of a performative male feminist who liked to say all the things and make it very, very clear that he's woman first. And would you rather go on a date with that or like an Andrew Tate Banosphere style guy who's wearing an overly tight, not fitted well suit jacket so it shows off his big muscles, and he sent you a gym selfie and he's very men should be men?
This is difficult because I would say both are a no for me. If you were going to say performative feminist versus just a regular dude who's not trying that hard, I might choose the regular dude over somebody who's being performative. But yeah, Andrew Tate can just suck a dick and die in a fire. So I guess I would choose the performative feminist. And
I'm
then I,
thinking like Justin Baldoni as my picture for this. And again, I feel like I'd
okay,
probably support Justin Baldoni over Blake Live. I mean, I don't know what happened, but I'm
I
imagining
refuse
like
to
a
engage in
guy
that
with
debate.
like, yes, I'm imagining like a guy with like a man bun who
Uh
like
huh.
tells
Uh
you about
huh.
feelings and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I guess just the performative liberal kind of thing in general. I don't find it attractive, but I would choose it over the manosphere blogger. I also think that there's a very interesting thing that I have somehow gotten in this niche of the Instagram internet, and it is guys who do reaction videos to like these manosphere kind of guys. I love those videos, especially because the ones that I like to watch, some of them just completely are mean and petty and eviscerate the manosphere guys. Some of them are coming back. There's Professor Neil is one that I follow on Instagram, and I love him. He's a professor of something to do with like sociology, gender studies kind of thing. So he always comes with all these studies about human sexuality and the male loneliness epidemic. So he comes back with the studies and just presents receipts and data. But he's a very feminist leaning person. And I love that coming from men because the women have been ranting about the men who suck for years. And obviously, there are some people that we're never going to get through to just by virtue of being women. So I love that there are men out there who are being non performative feminists and are actually speaking up, much in the same way that I think it's most important for white people to speak up about white people who are racists and counteract that. And that should not be a person of color's deal. I similarly think that men should be spending more of their internet time speaking up. So I do like those. But if we're
Yes.
just talking performative Like I'm
Yeah.
a vegan only when my girlfriend is watching kind of thing, then
Yeah, probably an unpopular opinion, but I actually think that Dave Portnoy does a good job at Barstool Sports at being like, here was my first very strong bro opinion, and now I heard from other people, including my female staff, and I actually do feel like I should put out there that I think this
I
situation is more
am not the
nuanced.
target audience for Barstool Sports, so I don't know who that is, but I do appreciate that because I
You don't
imagine
know
that
who
he
Dave Portnoy is? Hmm.
what's that? Who's
Like you don't
he?
know who like El Presidente of Barstool Sports is?
I've literally never watched anything on Sports in my life. I know that there is a website called Barstool Sports, and there is the end of my knowledge.
Wow,
Because
I
I'm
feel
too busy
very
watching videos of sociology professors presenting sexuality studies to videos of
I feel very,
interesting
very different from you right now. That's all right though. How do you feel about like daddy influencers? So many of them bother me. The only one who I pass is the foster dad because he does really, really great videos, like kind of about fostering and
Yeah,
all
and
that.
my thing is,
Uh,
I'm gonna say I'm hoping that I have a non-gendered response to this question in that I don't like parenting influencers, end of sentence. I like people
Okay,
who do
that's fair.
comedy about how being a parent is tough and shitty and make funny videos in solidarity. But anybody who's doing influencing kind of things, e mm, I
You're
wouldn't
right.
call
I guess
these
I
influencers.
also don't like it when women do it, but when men do it, I think it irks me more because I just know that there's such a high chance that it's their wife doing the majority of this stuff.
And
There's
that
this
they realize that
one.
that would be more of a, like, niche market that they'd have the opportunity to stand out in by putting the dad in front of the camera. Interesting.
Yes, there is this one dad who I was longtime Facebook friends with, and then he decided to try to be an influencer. And his wife, a wonderful woman, was a full-time stay-at-home mom who took it very, very seriously. Set up a full Montessori classroom in their living room, all that. And he would post on, well, don't we all agree that if your kid starts their day with TV, then it's just off on the wrong foot from the get go and all this? And, sometimes when people put TV on, it's because they're both gonna go onto their work day and they need those 15 minutes to like shower themselves and stuff. So, anyways,
Yeah, anybody who's posting sanctimonious videos, like, I will say I like comedy, humor, parenting videos. The only parenting advice I want is Ali Wong telling me that I've suffered enough already and I can give my kids potato chips for dinner. And I do follow some people who
I
are
suffer
subject.
every day.
I know, and that's why I give my kids potato chips every single day for dinner. And then I like people who are actual subject matter experts presenting their expertise, like they have some kind of certification or degree in this.
Taking care of babies, for
And
example.
then
Like,
they're
yes,
presenting it
I
in a
allow her to tell me
non-judgmental
about
way,
sleep.
like, Kids Eat in Color, I think, is one of the ones I follow on Instagram, where
Yes,
she's a
she is a
nutritionist
dietitian and she's
dietitian.
very
Yeah,
non-judgmental.
who has a lot of presenting about, like, with understanding about the different barriers that parents are facing and why you might be feeding your children potato chips for dinner. So I like those kinds of things, but the people who are in the middle who have neither expertise nor humor, but a lot of sanctimony. Is sanctimony a word? They're sanctimonious. Those ones I have no time for, regardless of gender, which I feel is very feminist of me. Or pro man, I don't know. I dislike them with equal disdain.
That's kind of you. We could go into much darker paths, but because we tend to stay cheery, we will just land with men probably aren't okay. And let's go on to some crazy shit that we've been reading lately from Popular Women's Lit.
Yes, mine was not from Popular Women's Lit.
There's a
Okay, so I will
popular
let you
thread of
start if you
conversation,
have been reading anything from Popular. Oh, I actually have been reading Alchemized, which
but you don't really like Alchemized that much by Sinlin Yu.
I find it very dark so far. I will give my full book report when I am done. I would not have picked up that this was Harry Potter fanfic, well, Dramione fanfic, unless I had gotten the book knowing that. And so actually one of the things I'm most enjoying in reading this book is that I'm trying to figure out who all the characters would have been in the Harry Potter universe. And so now I kind of want to go back and read her original fanfic version that calls them by name to see how many of them I got right. But that's just like my ADD brain going
I
off.
had read Manacled, so it was a little bit easier to link it up.
So
I think,
Manacled is the
yeah.
name of the one that she first did.
Yes.
Okay. I'm
And we
going to go
both
back and read
read
that next before I give my full book report. I will also say, without talking about this too much, because I want to do a full Dramione fanfic episode, Kay, but I picked this book up coming straight off of the other one that you had sent me. Um, and
Draco
what
Malfoy and the mortifying ordeal of being in love, which is such a joy.
it was so cute and lighthearted and heartwarming and like happily ever after and just felt like a joyful little romp in the Harry Potter universe minus
Just
J.K.
nonstop
Rowling's
smiles and
transphobia
laughs. Yeah.
and just like a little bit of smut at the end when they get together. So I was coming straight off of that and I was like, oh, I'm into this Dramione thing. And then I went
Alchemized is very, very
straight
dark.
into Alchemized.
It's really more a dark
It's so
epic
dark.
fantasy with like a hint of a love story than
Yeah, and I haven't
than
gotten to it yet, and I'm sure that like, Resand and Court of all the things, there will be some kind of plot twist as to why he's actually not a bad guy, and it would be a reasonable thing to fall in love with him, but that plot twist is very twisty because right now I'm just like, everybody in this book is very mean except for the poor Hermione character.
So I think that the power of Alchemized is actually in how Cinlin Yu writes Hermione's character, and I can't think of what
Helena.
Helena is a name in Alchemized, because it's really about this like unsung hero. And Cinlin Yu said that when she was a child, like she couldn't really relate to like the big strong male characters, and when females were
Mm.
like the main characters, they were tended to almost be like the female version of like
Mhm,
Captain
mhm.
Marvel. They were also like these powerful strong women who were getting all the credit. And she said more like that quiet smart strength, where actually behind the scenes you're the one who's like pulling all the strings and making it that it all comes together. She said to her that's more like what an actual typical woman hero does look like. And so I
And I
think
do
that's
like
kind of
that
how it gets
aspect of it
flipped, I
so
think,
far because I think J.K. Rowling, for being a female author, I always felt like she did Hermione dirty. And so I think that
in so
is
many
shining
ways.
through so far. I think it's a well-written book. Like, I love her writing, is beautiful. And
It's
it's
just
just
very,
like,
very dark with like the
it's very atmospheric.
necromancy.
And
Yeah.
I think that so far it is setting up a story. It's setting up a story that I think is a more feminized telling of war and that there's nothing heroic about it. And then at the end, that it's often the women picking up the pieces or the people carrying on kind of these unseen burdens. So I love the writing so far. I think it was also just the culture shock of coming off of the Draco Malfoy and the
Oh,
unfortunate.
yeah, and it starts with, like, the main characters, like, eating themselves because they've been killed. It's awful.
Yeah, yeah.
It's extremely dark.
So
So
just
I
reader beware. Trigger warning. Prepare for yourself before you go in. Um, Kay, you go next. What have you been reading lately?
so many things, but I have to say Poison Daughter by Sheila Masterson was unhinged. I stayed up late to finish it, but totally unhinged. Big on voyeurism. So it's a story that the
Mm.
woman, everybody who she kisses, her power is that they would instantly die. And so she's used by her very, very powerful magical family. They don't tell anybody that this is her thing, but they have her meet with
Ooh.
suitors and all that. And then there's this one
I feel
guy
like people
who's
would start to
immune to
catch on
her.
after a while, but maybe this is a non-social media
There's
universe
many
that it exists
different
in.
The main weird thing is that every single sex scene that she had with the guy, and there was maybe like 7 sex scenes. I literally stopped reading them by the end because I was like, I don't think this is my thing, but I like the book. But it was always with other people watching, like large amounts of people watching, including at some point his parents. And
Hmm.
I just don't know if that's a thing of mine. And then I also finally read
It's good to find
Neon
out in a safe
Gods.
space.
The Neon Gods by, like, Katie it's, like I think it's Katie Roberts, and
Yes.
that also had, like, a voyeurism scene, and then I had to tell my sister, like, "I think that you recommended me Neon Gods because I told you
I
about Poison
suggested
Daughter,
it to
and
you.
I'm
I don't know
not
if your
into
sister did. I think your
voyeurism."
sister did too. And I also suggested it to you just because if you like smutty reads, it's very smutty.
It was sexy, but it was another voyeurism thing, and I was like,
It
"What is
wasn't
why
the
do people wanna
voyeurism
have
was
sex on a
very
big stage?" It was
casual.
way light. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was mostly not in front of other people after The Poison Daughter. And then, of course, I read Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood, which was a sweet little novella.
You've been busy,
Nothing
Kay.
remarkable. Always
Um,
busy.
So I
In
will
that
wrap up
area, not in other areas.
the book report session with a very quick my first foray into sentient object smut, which I
Person
feel like
only?
No, I don't think so because this did not put me off of it, although I do not think that this was characteristic of typical sentient object smut. I came across, and I feel like you and I have both been sending each other books and be like, you read it. And then we're like, no, you read it. So I started getting recommendations coming across my socials, and I knew that I just had to read Pushin Cushions by Vera Valentine and Unfortunate Reads.
And Vera is like the leader of sentient object romance.
Yes. Well, this is a very special one because can you guess it is about a sexual encounter with a couch. Can you
Cushion, okay.
guess who is having the encounter with the couch?
J.D. Vance?
A pants. Well, I forget what his name is, but yeah, it's JD
Ugh.
Vance with a like slightly
I
different
I
name.
love women, we're so weird. Like, this is the same way as us getting back at Quinn Hughes for laughing at a joke by being like, "He only likes his ass eaten."
Yes. I know. And here's a quick read from the book just to give you a little taste. Dennis hadn't meant to cuckold his couch. He'd simply forgotten the pleasures of hot skin, plunging into forbidden cushioned crevices, the sheer joy of plush pillows crushing obediently under his bucking hips. But now, cocked to cushion, the call of his youthful indulgences came roaring back. It's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
Was
he
it
had,
hot, or was it
I think
just funny?
I guess if you find couches hot, I just really think if you're gonna be really sensing object smut,
Not my
um,
couch.
what
Like little
better because
wrappers and,
you're
like,
like,
kids' food crumbles in
well,
there.
okay, she's a dirty couch. He does tell her that at one point. He's because he fucks her and some tissues and coins and stuff comes out, and he's
Ugh.
like, "Oh, you're a dirty couch. You're a dirty, dirty couch." Um, would you like a little bit of spoilers,
I mean,
or are you gonna read it? It takes like 15 minutes to read it.
I wouldn't mind a spoiler.
Okay. I mean, it's you will still enjoy reading it should you choose to read it because the enjoyment is just in the craft. So yes, he is basically JD Vance, although I think to set things up a little bit, his wife has left him, which is I hope
Oh,
maybe Usha will
Usha. I
still
mean,
do.
yeah, I don't want you to have to leave and be a single mom with 4 kids, but I do wish that
I
for
feel
you,
like she'll
Usha.
do okay. She can have some nannies to take with her. So he is getting ready to watch some dolphin porn, which is his other big addiction. And then something kind of like puts him off, gets him out of the mood. And he's like, I got to save my new dolphin porn movie for when I'm really in the mood. And he's in his office and he brushes against that couch and he feels a little shiver. And he used to have some youthful indiscretions with his couch in his college dorm room. So he's like, it's time to come back. And then there's a lengthy sex scene with him in the couch. And he's so into it that he doesn't really register or ignores that there's a voice in his head that's the couch, like, responding to him and is like, "Oh, yeah, baby." So he just gives it to the couch good, and at the end, he's like, "Oh, there's void inside of the couch," and it turns out that the couch is possessed by, like, a demon, um, and it's trapped in the couch, it's been waiting for somebody to fuck the couch for all these years so that the demon can come out and take JD Vance's body. Sorry, not JD Vance,
Vera, you
Dennis
really thought of this. Yeah.
J. Rance. And, so the ending is that he gets sucked into the couch netherworld, and he has to wait, trapped like a genie in a lamp, for somebody else to fuck the couch for him to be freed and get to body snatch their body. And then, as a happily ever after ending, the couch is given away. Oh, the person who steals his body gets sent to jail on a campaign finance scandal along with President Trent. And then they're giving away all the stuff left over in his office, and the maid gives the couch to her niece or somebody who is asexual and has a Ruth Bader Ginsburg flag draped over it and is like, this is one couch that nobody's ever gonna have sex on. And then he's trapped in the couch netherworld for the rest of time. It's
Underneath
beautiful.
RBG.
Happily ever after.
Well, that exceeded expectations. I love that it was a dirty couch.
She was a dirty couch and she could take it all. It was kind of asexual, but it did have female descriptions of its folds and, fuckable spaces. The best part about this is that one of the co-author, Unfortunate Reads, is somebody named Cassie, and the about the author says Cassie is an ADHD millennial mom of one from Baltimore who loves craft beer and chaos.
We must know them, right? Like,
I would like to find Cassie. So if any of our Baltimore listeners know who Cassie is from
we
Unfortunate
love
Reads,
you.
please connect us. We would love to have you as a guest on the show. We thought that your writing was beautiful.
Really, really beautiful and so hot with a dirty couch.
It was so
Well,
sexy. Beautifully written.
it's a shorty today. We're already at the wrap up, closing out on following up with feet on airplanes.
Oh, just I feel like I had a number of incidents after we recorded the episode with Lulu. One, Lulu sent me a picture from a flight that was literally somebody in the back row that had just like put their feet up and somehow had them up against the back wall of the plane, but they were also on the cabinet, those little latching cabinets that go into the wall that the flight attendants keep all the gear in. Their foot was on the cabinets. Cut it off. Cut off the foot.
Just,
Zip
yeah,
it
that's,
to the
yeah,
chair.
literally just cut it. Yeah. Or strangle it with zip tie. Just
In the same week,
ideas.
I also was on a flight and I'm in the middle seat next to Mr. SJ in the aisle seat. And in the window seat is this lovely
Kind of
older
you.
lady who seems very nice. We took turns. I know, I'm a saint. And I'm like, oh, this will be great. The funny thing was, I like made a joke because we were in the front row of coach. So there's kind of that partition wall in front of you. And then the business
Economy
class
plus.
seats. Yeah, it wasn't really economy plus, I don't think. I didn't pay for it. Anyway, there's just one little cutout where the armrest comes through, and I was jokingly said something like, "Oh, wouldn't that be hilarious after recording this episode if somebody took their shoes off and stuck their feet through that hole and rested their feet on the armrest of the business class passengers in front of them?" Not 10 seconds later does this woman proceed to take off her boots that she had been walking around the airport in. I'm sure she's a lovely human being. Her socks were very stinky after walking around the airport in those little boots. And so then I was subjected to like a 4-hour flight of just smelling her feet. And she was small, so she was tucking her feet. I think she took her shoes off so she could tuck her feet up on the chair. So then they were even closer to my face and they were on the seat. And I'm just like, dear listeners, if you want to take your shoes off on the flight, that is fine. They, will
Keep your
remind you
feet
to
on the ground.
keep your feet on the ground and also bring a fresh pair of socks. The ones you have been stomping around the airport in are not clean.
Ugh. I'm sorry,
Final
SJ.
admission on follow-ups to the in-flight episode. Did you see the news about Christy Gnome's sex plane?
No. Do I need to? Is it weird?
It's like
Is
she's
it
just having
hot?
um is Christy Gnome joining the Mile High Club on a taxpayer payer funded jet hot? And it's with her second in command that everybody who works with them knows that they have. You're Googling this and I love it. You have to see the airplane though. I was just
She's
going to
not
mention it.
not hot.
She was better looking before she got Mar-a-Lago face. But nonetheless, I wouldn't want to fuck her, even in a really nice airplane. But my main point was that this is a really nice airplane. So as we were previously discussing that we generally wouldn't join the Mile High Club except under some very specific circumstances, like the shower in Emirates first class. I would also put this taxpayer-funded private jet. If you haven't seen pictures of it yet, it is a good boom boom jet. So I'm just saying, if you feel like it is one of your life goals to join the Mile High Club, please find this plane. Have it cleaned first and then go to town.
I'm just curious now. Sorry, everybody. It's like, is Corey hot?
No, but I want you to
No.
Google and verify.
Your guess is that he's not
No,
hot?
I've seen pictures of him.
Okay. Yeah, he's not a daddy.
He's
That's
not a
for
daddy in
sure.
any sense of the term.
No, I feel like I know what his penis looks like, and it's like a little skinnier than it should be. It's like the right length, but it's skinny. And the hair is like I don't know, like prepubescent looking.
Mm,
Guess on Corey's
accurate.
penis.
I'm gonna rate that as accurate.
Yeah, if you watch enough videos, you know the type by
I've
the
seen enough
face.
dick pics. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was important news, and I'm glad that we got to wrap up with that.
I have a Google alert for taxpayer-funded sex planes, so it just came up, you know? I mean, I probably should. I feel like the men are coping with it very differently from the women who are just having a nice cognitive offloading time by reading sentient object smut. So I will read up on more before the next episode because I think they're all pretty quick. And we'll report back.